and we have a quorum. I will call the meeting for the Conservation Commission for June 5th open. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from May 15th.
Make the motion.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And first on our agenda is Lot 4, South Street.
Yes.
Maybe if there's other people for other ones, maybe we can tell them about.
I was just going to say, if anybody here is for 109 Spring Street, Luke Drive off Brooks Place, Stony Road, and Ames Drive, those will all be continued. Okay.
Are you here for that?
Spring Street.
Spring Street. And it's been continued to the next meeting, so we won't even be discussing it.
Okay.
Just
Can
so,
I ask
you-
why?
what do you
Can I
hear?
ask why?
They just asked for a continuance without prejudice. They must not have everything together yet, or,
Some, a lot of reasons.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they may not have all of their paperwork for the presentation done yet. We don't know. They just asked for us to continue it, and we generally grant that.
So you're not, obviously not going to talk about.
Nope, we're not going to discuss any of it, so.
Building down in the wetlands.
On Spring Street?
Well, the street, but he went down through the wetlands, that they wanna fill that in and build houses.
I would bring up next week, maybe. We usually know what.
Well, it's on the town calendar. Have you gone to the town website? If you go to the town website, it has a calendar, and then you can click on the Conservation Commission, and it has the agenda posted.
Okay.
And we put in big bold letters this time, to be continued with no discussion.
don't
The
have to-
applicant can't be there.
Okay.
So you can check that out. You could check the Concom's page, and we do the same thing. We post an agenda there, or call, and then we can let you know. 'Cause we hate to see you make a wasted trip.
Very good. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
More people coming in.
Here they come.
I had a feeling that they were good for that.
Yeah.
All right,
Right.
we're open.
We're open for
Yeah.
business. My name's Jeff Youngquist from Outback Engineering. They made I believe you have the new plans. They made the corrections on the plan. Basically moving the silt fence farther away from the road. They added a rubble pad for a construction entrance pad. They put a washout area, and then they added roof drains. And then they adjusted this, I think their now buffer zone replacement area is 4,062 square feet. Made all those changes that I believe they were requested.
Okay, John? Any-
I found that they've done everything that Jeff has indicated, that the changes were made on the plan, and so now I have no issue with this. And they did stake out where the PVC pipes are gonna go, and they're right about where I expected them to be, so I think we can close the public hearing and issue an order of conditions.
Will the PVC pipes be in before construction starts?
It says in the order that before building permit sign off.
Okay.
That's usually the case.
Just making sure, because we've
No.
had some trouble, and if they're out there ahead of time, anybody that's potentially looking to purchase the lot, hopefully will know where the boundary line is.
They usually put them in way ahead of time.
And they're already staked,
We staked them already.
so we'll make sure they get them in.
Just where it's a big open grassy field, I can see potential for problems coming down the road if
Sure.
they're not. All right, anybody have any other questions?
No.
Yeah,
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. I will entertain a motion to issue a order conditions with the standard special conditions for a single-family home.
Make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. I will entertain a motion to grant a waiver for work within the 50-foot.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good seeing you.
See you, talk to you later, John. Bye-bye.
Okay. Next on our agenda, we have 109 Spring Street, which has been asked for continued, so I will entertain a motion to continue to June 19th.
Make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Moved. Luke Drive off Brooks Place. The applicant has asked to continue that one to the 19th.
Make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Stony Road, Clark Circle has been asked to continue to July 17th.
Make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And we have a request to continue 1 Ames Drive to our next meeting, which would be the 19th.
Make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Next, we have a request for certificate of compliance for 54 Beacon Street.
I think that form is in your packet.
Yep,
with
got the form. We're just gonna,
Oh, I didn't write down the address on my report, sorry. Item number 6.
yep, that's what I was looking for. The I believe everything's in order.
Yes, we received the letters from the engineer, we received the as-built. All the documents were recorded, and I did an inspection, and everything is stable. So I recommend issuing the certificate without a bond.
Anybody discuss questions?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue the certificate of compliance without a bond.
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay, next we have 129 Bedford Street. You guys have been busy.
Yeah. We're not gonna make that mistake again. Yeah, the wood chips are, we have a photo if you'd like to. That helps, John. I don't know if you have that up, but they're down. Was a couple handfuls of piles that just need to be cleaned up but
That's
for the most part, it's gone. I gave you a map
Yes.
I think last time, but I kind of color coded a different one. Maybe that might help. I don't know. It's kind of a little crude, but I have a few of them. Yes. This is the old schematic for the septic, so it's all I had just to
Yep.
kind of go over. And I guess our intentions are, I staked out 25 feet and then 50 feet, just because my tape measure only went that far, for the pictures. And our intention, obviously the green is the wetland, the yellow is the 50-foot, the blue is just half of only did the back half. And the red, the top line of the red dash is kind of where the lawn stops. And below it is kind of where we had the previous shed and is kind of a low area, and some of these pictures will help kind of describe it. Yes, parts of it. This is kind of what the back looks like.
I'll share this.
A few different ones. Gives you a general idea. But for the most part, there's a big drop off in that area where the shed was. These ones have it in it, so this helps for you guys. This is kind of probably 3 or 4 feet up from the shed area, so we're just kind of hoping. And then the leach field is on the left side of all this and kind of slopes up, so we're hoping to kind of regrade it, fill it and regrade it, something reasonable that makes the backyard more usable. That Sound right, John, what we discussed?
Yeah, because the work obviously is with, some of it's within the 50-foot buffer. So the commission has to decide on how you want to handle it, whether it should be a filing or, a request for determination or notice of intent. So with the pictures, it gives you an idea of what it looks like out there now.
Yeah, it's just kind of, these were the stakes that I had written too that might help, so. The property line you can see is kind of a little jagged on the left side, so these inside ones are all 25 feet from, John, I measured from the pink ribbons, which I believe is the correct, and then the inside ones are the 50, so it's kind of, it's about this come into question the most, where the red and the yellow cross each other.
All right.
Everything on the other side is over the 50 feet line.
Is that the area you cleared?
No, the area we what do you mean clear, with the wood chips? Or the trees?
Or the trees that
Yeah,
came
the
down.
trees were, yes, in that area. And there
In
was a
this
couple,
area?
There was a couple on this side of the storage container too.
And we cleared them because of,
Mainly because of the storm, because we
The
had
storm,
3
that was
father
it.
ones come down.
Okay.
And they were just, those were all in the proximity of hitting the house.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't pond, pool, or hold water there now.
Not really. There's the outlet for the sump pump is back there, which it puts a little bit, but it doesn't really stay all that often.
She's here for South Street, you'll have to tell her it's Kathy. She missed it.
So this was previously disturbed, I assume, looking at the 50? Because
Yes.
there's
Yeah,
lawn
a
out
lot of
here
it
and
was
all.
lawn already,
Older
so-
home, yeah.
I mean, my only concern, and that's why I asked if there was water pooling or anything, where it's not in the wetland, but it's adjacent to it, so if it was a low area, that we're gonna be pushing water off of one property into
Right.
another area, or create an area that's even wetter by, how much fill are you planning on bringing it up?
No, I mean, we've talked to a couple landscapers that have given us ideas, and obviously you can't just have it go level right to the back and then a steep fall, because that doesn't make much sense. It's tough to, in this, like these photos, there's a bit, so our driveway is probably about here, and then it's a steady grade down to the back, so it would be more the area where the shed is, which is really,
Yeah.
that is just when if you, it's probably a good 2.5 feet, 3 feet up to the leach field, and that's the biggest area.
Yeah,
which
because it
is
looks like
out-
it goes from 51 down to 45,
so that's the biggest area of concern, but more of it, I mean, I don't think it's gonna get graded all that much in the area of concern. It's more just to fill it with loam and maybe get it grassed instead of having kind of all the shrub, like it's the weeds and dead stuff that's there.
That's what they-
I'm trying to come up with a justification for being inside this 50 here. Because that was wooded and now it isn't, right?
Well, a portion of it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look where that medallion is right there.
Yeah,
So this area here, that medallion, and as he said, with the old shed, was kind of
Yeah, the top red line is pretty much the grass line,
yeah.
yeah.
so everything
But
behind
getting
that
that
wasn't
storage
per
shed
se
that
a
was-
lawn.
Right.
That's out of there.
This is what the old storage had, where it
Yeah.
was. on our-
You just tore that down.
Yeah.
It was.
So I guess I'm looking to this area.
It didn't take you long, so obviously.
It was infested with ants, so.
Yeah.
And fine, but
Yeah.
So you're not proposing to do anything inside here,
Inside which part?
this 50?
It would be more just to kind of bring it up, it's going to grade down slightly with the there, and more just to fill it with grass, just to make it look reasonable, so it's not just.
I mean, would you be in there doing things and,
No, I mean mainly not really. It's more
We
just
do-
to have it look nice.
we
yeah,
eventually want to fence the yard
Yeah.
also, so,
you would run it along that 50?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to, really.
Yeah, and keep it
just-
inside the tree line,
Yeah.
the existing tree line and shrub line.
So it's more just for aesthetics than anything. It's not for us to be
And-
doing.
Right.
John
Putting
and
a
I
property or
discussed
anything on
pieces
it.
too, and I know, like, obviously if we're infringing on it, then there's options too, and we do have somewhat of they're building another house back there, and there's a bit of an open gap in part of it, and we're open to planting stuff that helps local air, like the conservation, so if that's something that might aid in your decision, then we're very open to it.
So in the, on the Chromebooks, there's if you click on the Bedford Street 129 owner, it's a 5-page document, a letter, and then a sketch. It also
I
has,
did.
it also has some photographs. You can see how that plot that's being constructed, or the house being constructed out in the back, does have a gap in the trees.
This one kind of shows the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a good sized gap, but
So part of it is, but there is, I think it's where a couple of the trees came down before we moved there.
Are we looking for mitigation of any kind? Tilted.
That's not a bad idea.
I don't even know whether, I mean, it's,
Such a small area.
right,
I
and
mean,
it's,
Yeah.
Just to slow it down. Decay more slowly.
I don't know, I guess you gotta go through the procedure, right?
Yeah, so
Uh,
you could have them do a request for determination.
Right.
They can handle it themselves, or.
yeah, I don't think they have to go to the whole
9
notice of
miles.
intent, yeah, with an engineer and all that. I
Right,
mean, I
right,
would,
for that,
And
right.
as
Yeah.
part of a decision, you could condition it to do the whole thing the way it's shown, or some part of it as you feel comfortable with, as far as asking for mitigation or not encroaching into the 50. And there's a whole number of options that you could condition it by, but it could be discussed at a public hearing
Yeah.
where everybody comes to an agreement.
Right.
And the reason it needs to go through a process is just to make it legal, basically, for working within 100 feet of the wetland.
Yeah.
So, if the commission feels comfortable about the request for determination, we can have them file that,
Yeah.
and then we can discuss how we want the mitigation to be.
All right.
And Paula has an idea of asking for a rain garden. You know, we could do a couple of those types of things to
Sure,
mitigate it and
sure.
justify allowing it to happen.
Okay. Sounds good to
yeah,
me.
Okay.
That
go the
way-
easiest way and not have to.
No, that works.
expensive.
Yeah.
Outside, I guess outside of the 50, is there anything we can begin to start to work on? Or just wait for this process to be complete?
Not legally, but,
I asked because the guy building the house behind us might give us some of the fill to save some costs, so he has a lot of fill behind us. And I don't know what his schedule's like, so I'd love to adhere to it as best as possible.
well, I suppose if you could stockpile it.
And just leave it in
outside-
beyond the 50 feet?
beyond the
Yes.
50.
And that's okay for now? Alright.
And then, as part of it, we could ask that you put a erosion control barrier around it, and the fellow that's giving it to you next door, he knows what that means.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Alright.
All right, thank you.
Alright, do you guys wanna keep?
Thank you for this.
Yeah, this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made up letters and stuff too, so if you guys wanna hang on to them, I mean, just, this was like steps and stuff.
Okay,
Which
I'll
we discussed.
put them all with
Thank
the,
you.
thank you.
Alright,
Keep it together.
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ron.
All right. Just to make it easy on people that are here.
Kathy.
Yes.
Hi.
Well,
I'm here, maybe I have the wrong day.
No, you do.
No, I think it's for postponement.
It was lot 4.
yeah, oh,
Lot 4.
Lot 4 South Street?
Yeah.
It's closed, open, closed.
He made the changes, did the additional replication area.
Okay.
So it's been approved.
Oh, okay. So I don't have to come in?
No.
No, but
Nope.
you have to keep an eye on things.
Right. I don't have it to say.
You didn't have to come in the first
I just
place.
don't want water in my cellar, that's
Yeah.
why I'm here.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, and I have mentioned that at one time there was a ditch in the back of my land that went right to the river. That's all filled in now with debris through the years. If that opens up, my next door neighbor, who is nephew, he lost his whole heating system when we
Yikes.
didn't have power.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the water collects all in that area terrible. And, so that's where I am.
You might want to ask mosquito control, Plymouth County mosquito control.
Yeah,
to
see, I
come down.
have 2 ponds, really, one not on my land, then a big one on my land.
And ask them to clean out those ditches, because that's what it was for in the,
Okay,
in the
yeah.
beginning, and it's, like you say, filled in with debris,
Yeah,
and that would help.
yeah. It's also, I think, the drainage that they made when they put new houses on Cross Street. And
Across the
Forest
street.
Yeah, and Forest Street, too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Check with mosquito control, because they
That
Yeah.
helps.
do come out and clean those ditches, so.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty,
All
thank
right,
you.
Thank you, then I can call.
Okay.
Yes, you
All
can.
right.
They were first thing, and it was open and closed real quick.
Oh, okay.
You just got, you're a little too late. so.
Yeah, I was. Okay.
See you
Thank
later.
All righty.
Good night.
Good night.
Want to do 55 Crescent Street?
Hello, everyone.
Good evening. Since you're here with the kids and we can get them out of here before it's too late.
It's early today. I don't see much people here today, so. So,
I can read my report.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if you want to.
So, 55.
Number 10, okay.
At our last
Yeah.
meeting, I had provided the commission with a plan that showed a possible solution to the problem out there, where the commission would allow some of the restricted area to be used as a backyard, and the property owner would do a restoration of the filled area out front, and also an area adjacent to his backyard that he encroached into. I met with him, and he has, can you give an estimate yet?
Yeah.
The cost of pulling all that fill that was originally there, that was when we approved the lot to start with. There was fill in there, and as part of the agreement with the builder who rehabbed the house and rebuilt it, that he was going to leave that area as part of the restricted area, even though it was not wetlands. I guess it's gonna be very costly to the property owner if he has to remove all that out of there when it was always there. So he wants to suggest that some other things be done. Do you have a plan that you wanna tell him about?
Yeah, I was thinking that if I like put a fence there, I spoke with him on the side where it was disturbed by the side of the driveway, and make like a fence like straight all the way down, and then on the right side, excuse me, where is the part that was disturbed there, disturbed, I would do something there, plant something in there to go back to what it was or something like that, or let it grow back, because me and John, we talked, it should go back to to what it used to be. It was already kind of disturbed anyway, but I'll do what I have to do there to make it the way, you know, it's supposed to be. And because I spoke with the guy that can help me out with that, and he said it could cost me from $10,000 to like $13,000 to remove all that's there. And this is before, and then he said, and then it's probably gonna have to plant something here because it's gonna be looking awful too and stuff like that. And as I spoke with John, I had, because of my situation, I had spent all the money I had buying that house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I have no money more else, you know, to put into it. And I don't want to leave. You know what I mean? I can't be going through that again and, you know, be looking for another house and then it's like to the bank and everything. Everything's complicated. And so I want to know what we can do if you guys can, you know.
Well, the fill on the right-hand side of the driveway, that really has to get removed, I would think. I mean, filled in a wetland, brought it considerably up the grade, and what's there now is not going to grow much of anything.
No, so originally, that was, I don't think any fill was brought in there by the builder or the second owner or this owner here. I mean, he had some piles of fill that he was going to use out back, which I told him he had to take away. He couldn't leave them there. So originally there was upland area that we restricted, and we restricted it by not only a plot plan but a row of hedges, or a hedge row. And that completely got ignored, and maybe even some of the hedges got taken away because they survived there. So my idea at the last meeting was to have him remove all that fill down that was always there, but as a penalty for what happened in the back. Maybe that's a little harsh if he's got to spend 13 grand to pull all of that out. And you know, maybe if the commission wants to go back to the, let's say, square one when we approve the house
See
construction.
where the hedge was.
We told the
If they
builder
either
he has
died
to
or they
put
got pulled
a
out.
fence,
Yeah.
a living shrub fence up, and he did. He put up the shrubs and restrict that area and not touch it. Well, the second owner touched it, and this owner has gone in there and disturbed it as well. So what he's suggesting is if he put up a fence there, not just a shrub fence, but an actual fence, and never go in there, that it will go back to where we were on square one with the original builder. And then in the back, he would restore what he disturbed.
Out here.
So that's the type of mitigation he's offered to do, is to restrict it so the kids don't go in there, that the extra car doesn't park over there,
Yeah.
the snow plows don't go and push
What else?
snow
Yeah,
over
I
there.
mean,
What
it's-
else are we gonna do?
Right, I mean, he's,
You can't do it, can't afford to do it,
Yeah.
so what are you gonna do?
Facing the house, that's to the right side of the
To,
driveway?
to the right side, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, will anything grow in there, you think, eventually, I suppose? Huh?
Yeah, it'll get covered with natural vegetation.
Yeah.
You can already see that because I haven't not
You won't
parking
get
there. Like
nothing
it's
from it,
already
probably,
stuff
'cause
going
it's-
out. And
but you'll have something, probably end up with some
I was
pines
gonna
and,
even ask if there was something that I could put in there that's, you know, that's like maybe wetland or something that will look better than just like the vegetation just
I don't
come
know,
like ugly
throw
and stuff.
seed
You know,
in
maybe-
there, or,
Maybe something I can put in there that's gonna benefit that too, you know.
That
so
area,
that
yeah.
too, you know.
Like some native plantings, some
Yeah,
blueberries.
something like
Yeah.
that.
So that, rather than just putting the fence and ignoring it, he's offering to put some type of native plants that are at least a little more attractive than weeds or something
Right,
like that.
right,
So
right.
it seems reasonable. It's providing a buffer.
You know, limit the invasives that could
Yep.
get in there too.
What kind of fence do you think you have?
I haven't thought about that. I was gonna actually discuss stuff like that with him because I don't know exactly what, you know what I mean?
I mean, it could be a split rail or it could be stockade. I don't
Yeah.
have a,
Eventually, I don't wanna put it's right in the front of the house.
Yeah.
If I put something ugly, there's gonna be
Probably
stripes
Right.
on the
split
house,
rail, yeah.
you know, so that-
split rail, and then we could give them a vegetation list to pick from, and
Right.
Okay.
And the split
come up
rail
with that, I
wouldn't be
mean-
very costly.
Split
would be-
rail would be
And
fine.
simple, and I live behind you, kind of.
Oh, you do?
So I'm down by off of Stony Road and kind of behind there, so
Okay.
I'm familiar with your house, and it's a cute little house, so I
Yeah.
think the split rail would look
It's
adorable.
somewhat small,
Yeah.
but
It's cute.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good.
and so if we take care of the side of the house that way, now how about the grading and finishing off the back where the drainage trenches and everything was put in?
So, if you've got Google Earth up there?
Yeah, I'm looking on my phone. It's the older one. It's not the
I have
most
a lot of
recent,
pictures
but
if you wanna take a look.
But-
So if we were to put the edge of the driveway, a straight line along that right out to the back, he would utilize up to the edge of the woods
Wonder
that's
why
there
mine
now,
isn't,
everything to the left of that.
It's not even
That was
right.
your original, that was your little.
That would be
drawing
his
you had.
yard.
Yeah, and that was what
where
you
you
drew
were
on.
now.
Right,
Yes,
that's your-
on that other plan. Then everything to the right of that would be that he disturbed, because he did get a little bit far to the, closer to the wetlands on that side. He's willing to
Excuse me for a second. I know you're looking at something I
replant.
showed,
yeah, so you're looking to go out to
Put
the,
markers on the
Yeah, I
fence
know.
too.
Yeah.
So this is before I bought it. This
Right.
is pretty much how it was disturbed already.
Yeah,
you know,
out to-
you can see. So. You see this one.
so if he goes to the tree line on that picture,
Right.
how do we address the restriction that's on file? Because
Then we have to rewrite it,
Yeah.
and he has to record it. So you'll have to record a new restricted area.
Okay.
and that didn't change in elevation at all?
Basically, he was starting to grub it, and then he was gonna fill it, and I stopped him right at that point and said, don't do any more work out there. So the most that he did on that was he had a machine in there moving around, so it disturbed the surface. But there was no filling.
If it's smoothed out and left,
The whatever he doesn't do there will quickly take over with wetland plants, because it's definitely wet.
I mean, I know he wants some lawn back there.
But it's wet
Which-
too. You'd have to fill it.
Right, I mean, that's why I'm concerned with not wanting to fill it and just letting it,
Well, the piece right directly behind his house, he probably needs to bring up at least 3 to 4 inches of loom on top of what's out there. And that way,
get
he'd
it
be able
to-
to have a slope that continues so that we don't pond water on the next door neighbor. And also, follow the slope of the land.
but I
And
know the
also-
neighbor that's abuts him in Jewel Drive, when we had the hearing when this first went through, was concerned about the amount of water that ponded on the back of her property from there. And that was one of the reasons we put the restrictions on it, was to not, I'm just concerned if we fill that much area by 4
Over
inches,
that way?
that,
Yeah.
This one here.
Oh.
I mean, we already know he has
I
water
even,
problems.
I was
Looks
looking
higher.
at like the difference between the
I mean,
two
that's
lots.
like
You
volume
can
to
see
put
the labor
somewhere.
is a lot
Yeah,
higher.
see, it looked higher,
A lot
yeah.
higher
Yeah.
than I add this. And like he's saying, it's gonna, I don't plan to fill anymore. I know it's gonna be like that, you know. That's how I need to put
Here's the
some
old one.
loam there
That's
to
really
the
old.
grass. That's
Yeah,
pretty much
I
it.
mean,
And the drainage goes out that way, right? The new
Goes to the
drainage,
right.
yeah.
Drainage comes this way.
Oh, it does, okay.
yes,
Okay.
some of them do and some of them,
But you can see the original.
right. And that was what
It
was
just
allowed.
looks
Yeah.
significantly
And then
higher to me over there.
You
the
want
water.
The owner,
The rest.
yeah.
So, if he doesn't restrict the natural flow off of the abutter to the left or to the
Right.
west of him, and he brings the grade up just a little bit to make it so that it's not mushy lawn, because that's what it would be,
Yeah.
because there is drainage that's coming off of those properties to the west of him. I would say that he would have a useful yard. And if all the other areas restricted by fencing, then it'll at least go back to what we intended. And sure, we're releasing a little bit of additional land that we restricted originally, but I think in order to make it fair and
Right.
usable for this family, that we gotta kind of do that.
But it's like going back to repairing what was done prior, before he was even there, so he should.
I'm just
be-
concerned with putting 4 inches of fill to get enough loom there to grow grass seed
Right.
across, what, 200 feet by 100 feet? 4 inches, that's a lot of volume. That probably holds a lot of water, surface water, when it
So
rains.
is 4
which-
inches necessary? I mean,
Well,
like John said, to
You
keep it
really
from
need
getting mushy?
4 to 6 inches to
Yeah.
get a good lawn, if that's what he's gonna do. I'm just concerned where all that volume of water is gonna go. And even if he does keep it from going to the left, it's either gonna go to the back or to the right.
Well, wasn't it what was going in his house prior to this?
Yeah.
Right.
Wasn't it what was flooding him, and that was the initial concern? So what he did will protect his house, so we need to figure out
Where to grade it.
how it works to,
What's to the right, just woods, right?
Yes. And
It's
it's
like a
actually,
river there, right?
yeah.
there's actually an intermittent stream that flows
Can
through
you
there.
grade it that way?
Yep,
Well, isn't that that's kind of how it kind of naturally happens there, right?
right.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just afraid the grade back here.
And behind
If you
there's
look-
nothing like, it's like.
If you look at the grade, I'm not
2.5
sure what it
acres,
really
it's
is
all
right
like
here.
Right.
backwards.
But this
And it goes
was
down
hotter
that
when I
way
first
too,
had the
I think,
filing.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Was concerned because the
Doesn't it
water
go down
sheets
through
from
this?
here
It goes this way,
Yeah.
and then eventually
And if you're
crosses
gonna
under
stop
Crescent
it
Street.
Here, is it gonna hold back some of the sheeting effect?
So what if
That
it was
run around
swelling,
it
some kind of
this way?
swelling?
Right, I'm not sure, I'm
Yeah.
hoping it would, but
Yeah.
if it naturally
That
goes
would work.
this way,
And it's
you're
meant-
putting a
it
dam
costs
here,
me,
so it's gonna take longer.
For that.
Yes, oh,
To
sure,
get there,
Sure,
and-
sure.
You were gonna bring some, if I remember right, some loom in there anyway to put grass down?
Yeah, to put the grass.
I have to play with this.
I feel for you, I'm just having a problem with
Right.
the amount of mitigation we're getting for what we're giving here, which
But again, we're really repairing a mistake done by the previous.
right, I mean, it wasn't a mistake
Right.
that he created.
Right, exactly. And,
Taking down more trees and going further back.
right, but not having the adequate marking and all that too is an issue that. Now swaling, it was mentioned, I thought maybe if, because it's going, some kind of swale that would go.
So you think if I make it like, so it levels that way, Thursday right, it would be better? Is that what you suggest?
How far back, John, is that tree line from the house?
I would guess about 30, about 85 to, excuse me, 85 to 90 feet.
You mean like Thursday back?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Did-
about, I measure 20, yeah, right around there, like.
Yeah, because originally it was like 27 feet off the back, right?
Off the back deck
Yeah.
was the restricted line.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had water from the time you moved in.
Yeah,
You can almost see why that could happen.
I had a big problem there with the water. It was like pouring in
And that's, we think, because of the clearing in the back,
Because they did so much damage,
the prior owner.
yeah.
Now, they must have
and
had water.
since I mean I did I put the pipes and stuff
Yeah.
with the stones and everything. No more water. You know.
This
They
previous
have, like-
owner must have water too in the past, but when we asked, oh, it's sometimes the water came in the basement. Never, never water in this basement.
No,
It's
never
never
water in
had
this basement.
water.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I wasn't even gonna do anything at the point, because there was a little grass there and everything, and then it rained hard. I
Yeah.
remember in the winter, it was like
Yeah.
weeks of rain.
Yeah.
And then I have all the machines there, they're literally like sitting on a little piece of concrete like this high, and the water was going up like crazy, I was like, okay, I have to do something.
Scary, yeah,
That's when everything started.
right.
And I said, now I gotta fix the yard, now I gotta have to put,
Sure.
and that's when everything.
So if he's willing to plant to the right of the fence that he wants to put in with some,
Put the
Selective-
fence, do the planting,
which we did
grade no more than 4 inches of fill added to it in the back, and putting markers around the property and re-recording
Yeah.
the document.
Yeah.
And we didn't ask the original builder to do anything other than put a living shrub fence up. We didn't ask him to put any plantings on that side, and he's willing to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're getting a benefit from what we originally approved there, even though we're giving up some of the back area to let him have a yard.
I think putting the markers in will
That's-
permanently
yeah.
help
Yeah.
any future owner
Right.
at some point in time
Yeah.
to know.
One day,
Yeah.
I don't plan to, but.
Not after all.
Well,
this.
40 years from now, somebody else may 50 years be there, and
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
And again, maybe some rain gardens, not to be, pushing
Yeah.
an issue, but I think it's a solution that's cost effective and it works in our favor. So if we can get as many plants in there that use the water, you'll have less runoff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a real balance trying to follow what we need to follow with regard to regulations and what we feel is the right thing for you and your family.
I
So-
understand that, I really do,
So I think I have no problem with what we're proposing, so.
Steve, okay with it?
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that the commission has to compromise.
No, I
when-
wouldn't, yeah,
When the developer in the
Yeah.
first
Right.
place,
not for him, but for the
that's
path.
right, that's
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I learned my lesson.
The hard way.
If I buy another house,
Yeah.
I'll make sure I
go to town hall,
You
to
know what you
conservation.
have.
And I'll ask
Right.
all the questions.
You'll be really good at it. You'll be able to help everybody else too. Don't buy that house. There's wetlands over there.
Do we need to just
Well, I was saying
draft
to
a
your
letter for
wife
him?
when I bought my first house, I didn't look.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have to put it-
I didn't, I mean, there
Oh,
was no
Specifics.
problems, but I
Right.
didn't
And then-
look for all of that.
At
Yeah.
the next meeting, I'll have something
Oh, my
prepared.
first house had mushrooms in
Okay.
the basement. I didn't know what it was either,
And
because I'm
then
from
we
a
can
city, I'm
ask,
from Boston, so
Yeah.
my first house, I didn't even know what a sump pump was. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that?
Maybe in the
Well,
letter, I can also do
You're so happy
the
to
Yeah.
get the loan.
wording
Right.
on how it's
The
gonna
bank
be
approved you.
restricted, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was talking
So-
to him about sometimes it.
But I think it's gotta be
Maybe
in writing
put
so that
some-
it.
Right, well, that's what
Where-
I just know if he wants to get the grading and all of that and get it,
Find
start to get
out.
cleaned up,
They have
that
to
if-
come to the town, but then maybe
I'll-
we have it in his hands
the
by,
banks,
or
like the
so we can
lawyers,
review it
they
and give it
put
to
a lot
him
of pressure
then
on
after the
guys on
19th.
that end, so
Yes.
And
Then
then
it
he
goes
can,
into hot summer.
right, I mean, at least he can get the fence in and maybe get the grading done. I don't necessarily think he'd probably want to plant grass seed
Right,
until
grass
August or
not yet,
September,
yeah.
but at least you could get some of it done.
Okay. So do you wanna let it happen right away then and follow it up with a document that can be recorded?
I mean,
He knows exactly what we're talking about tonight,
Right.
and I know what you need, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
he's
as long
willing
as
to
we're
work with
moving it
us.
along here,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're gonna be working towards doing this right away, or do you wanna wait a while?
No, I wanted to do it as soon as
Okay.
I can, yeah.
So,
It's like, especially like with the rain and stuff, every time we go in the back there, like, the shoe gotta be washed, it's like everything is like, it gets
Right.
messy,
Right.
in there, and it's, the kids wanna play, I I was mentioning to John like the other day with an accident that happened in Bridgewater.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my kids are playing in the front yard here. You know, somebody's driving a car, so I gotta
Oh, yeah.
I gotta get that done and get them out of the front. You know, they're
Yeah.
playing in the front. I gotta get them back there.
Yeah.
Put a fence on as soon as I can, so they can play in the back instead of the front. 'Cause
Did you tell them like you plan to put a fence around the big part, so the back
Yeah,
part?
yeah.
Because maybe it's some issue about the fence in the back.
No, I don't think it'll be a problem, right? If we
As
put
long
a
as it's
fence
on the-
in the
Because
back,
of the water and stuff, I don't know.
What kind of
It's better-
fence are you talking about?
something that whatever.
Like a
you-
chain link fence for the
Yeah.
back part?
Yeah, in the back or something. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'll discuss that with you. Whatever it's legal, that's
Sure.
something that I definitely won't do anything without asking you now.
Right, no, I just wanted to give them the option to get it graded and get something stable there
Yeah.
before.
Probably can't do any grass
Yeah, I
now,
probably won't be able to do any grass, but
unless
at
you
least I
did
can
sod.
clean it, you
Although
know.
with the weather we have right now.
You could cover with straw.
I mean, if you're gonna put a straw mulch over it
I
and
have
seed
a-
it and
I
water
have-
it, it's more the water
I have
that he's
a
gonna have to
question.
water
It will
through the
be
summer.
wet. It will
So-
still,
Right.
it's
If
not
it's-
like it will
How
dry
does
right
it
out.
work
Right.
for the
That's
like
really
because
the
I
problem by
can't use
seeding
the water
slate.
from the town to water the grass, right? Here, is it illegal?
No,
Oh, no.
no,
No, you're fine.
yeah.
We don't
water-
have any water
They'll
ban.
let
Yeah,
you
there's
know
no
when
water
it's
bans,
banned. They let
so
you
you-
No
know.
water ban.
Yeah.
Because I started doing the front there, and I
Yeah.
should stop. I gotta ask them.
There's no water ban.
A lot of towns they
Yeah, I
have.
was
Yeah.
afraid, you know, I'm like, okay.
They announce it when there is
Yeah,
one.
So if I put a sprinkler system in the future there, it won't be a problem, right?
No.
No.
Like when I'm doing the grass or something,
Right.
Yeah.
if I wanted to do something. Because somebody told me that I may have to do like something on the ground, like how you call that? That you get the water from.
Oh, the well?
Well,
The
Oh,
well.
well,
But I wasn't sure how it works.
no.
you
No,
could,
you can
but
water.
You could, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's just your water.
Right, we haven't had water bans in,
Yeah.
no.
for a while.
That's good too.
We could get the draft letter done for next meeting and send that out to him, and then he could start.
Do we need to vote on anything tonight, or?
Well,
Probably not.
I think I've got a good idea of what you want. I
Yeah.
think what we need to vote on is, once we get it in writing,
Yeah.
that he'll agree to it, the commission agrees to it, and it's at least a formal an agreement
Right,
rather than just
right.
talking here at the meeting. So by the next meeting, we'd
Is
have.
there
it.
anything you need to do in between or want to do, or that's 2 weeks, so I don't know.
2 weeks from now,
Yeah, we could have the.
so I won't be able to in 2 weeks. Then we won't be able to do anything, right?
Well, I'm not sure, but
I think they want you to move ahead, so as long as you stay within what we've discussed
Well,
tonight.
that
and
should be fine.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll have the formal
formalize it in a letter.
on the
at
19th,
the
and
next meeting.
Okay, and then.
and as long as we come up with what, John, what do you think time-wise to do the document and record it? I mean, that I'm not as concerned getting a new right away because there's one already in
Yeah.
place, so
Yeah.
we'd just be amending the one that's there, which.
I think we have to amend it right away as well, so
Okay.
I'll work on that document, and that might take the burden off of him.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then on the next meeting,
Yep.
come over again, and then we'll finalize.
Yep.
Yes.
And the paperwork that we have to do, are we doing this in between this meeting, like?
No, I'm taking care of that, but before you do anything, make sure we agree upon it and go out and
Okay.
mark it on the ground, and
Okay, that's good.
that way.
In the meantime, you can talk to a fence company and find out what kind of fence you want to put in, and
Yeah.
Unless you put it in.
Yeah. Okay,
So if he does a split rail along the driveway,
Yeah.
but then he wants the fence in for the children in the back, and he wants to put a chain link or a stockade or whatever out in the back, that's all right?
yeah.
I think so,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, see you later.
Alright, so I'll contact you then
Right.
after that, so we can keep going, okay?
Yeah, my next work day is Thursday. So I'm not here tomorrow.
You're not here tomorrow, so next Thursday?
No, this
Oh, this
This
Thursday?
this Thursday,
I
yeah.
thought you were going on vacation.
No, no.
Oh, that's next week.
Sure.
Alright, thank you very much.
Yep.
Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
God bless
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, back to item number 8, I guess. 46 and 48 North Elm Street, the billboard
Oh, yeah.
duplex.
When I sat the gentleman down and we discussed how it was all going to happen and who was going to be paying for it, and when he realized he would be paying for it, he said, I can't do this. So he is not doing anything. So he's going to live with what's there and not be able to use it in the spring when there's water ponding on this back portion. There's still room between that area and the back door and the deck that he has, but he won't have the full use of that part until it dries
Who
out.
did he think would do it?
I
That
was
was
a little
unknown.
surprised that he says, "Oh, you mean I have to pay for it?" And I go, "Yes." So I don't know who he thought was going to do it, but
And then he's aware that at some point, if he does decide to do it, he does need to come and talk to us
yes,
before
oh,
he
yes,
goes
I said,
and
yeah.
decides to. All right. 32 Merritt Street, bond release.
32 was a request for a certificate way back in the wintertime, January, if I remember correctly, and grass wasn't going to grow, so the owner of the property, before they sold it, put down a $1,500 bond, cash bond, and we deposited it with the treasurer. I checked it about a month ago, and it wasn't coming in very well, and so I said that we shouldn't issue it. And the owner's now in Florida, and he was concerned that he wouldn't be able to have the control over it to keep it watered. And I said I would try to monitor it, and I went by the other day, and it was fairly thick. It's not perfect, but it's not going to hurt the wetlands. So at this point, I think the attorney for the buyer had left some money out of the sale, so they can work that part out, but I think our interests have been protected now so that we can release it. So I'm recommending signing a document that we prepared this afternoon that we'll send to the treasurer that will release the money.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to release the bond.
Make the motion.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, so moved. Item number 11, I guess, the model airplane
Model
licensing.
airplane, I still have got to work on that, so I'll put it on the next agenda. We'll keep moving it from one.
Not a
kicking
problem,
the
that way
can.
we don't forget it.
Kicking the can down the road.
Number 12, 110 acres of conservation land.
I attached to, and it's also on the Chromebooks, but I attached a paper copy to the report, managing a portion of Scotland Street conservation land for habitat for grassland birds. So we have the 110 acres out there. It had been farmed in various parts of it. Some of the area that was farmed that's not going to be developed, that's now on our property, could become a hayfield that would benefit the local farms to be able to, because they're running out of grass fields to be able to mow and feed their cows. So I thought about the fact that if we just didn't do anything there, the multiflora rose, other invasives are going to come in and just wipe that area out.
Right.
And that isn't good for any of the habitat out there. So that if we went to Natural Heritage and said that we'd like to manage it so that nesting grass, ground and grassland birds would be able to nest in there, that it would benefit the birds, it would benefit the farmer, and benefit our land so that it doesn't go into a wasteland, basically. And it's going to be a tough balance because Natural Heritage won't want it mowed indiscriminately. They're going to want the birds to be able to come in, build their nests, hatch their eggs, and then get the young ones out of the nest and out of the area, and then the farmer could mow it. So the timing of mowing is very crucial here. And so I've done some research on it and proposed this based on the research. Natural Heritage might have a different idea, maybe a week or two different than what we proposed here, but this was the start of it. And I talked with a local farmer, and they feel that it's reasonable schedule that I proposed here, that it seems to work with what they normally do anyway. But we'll have to talk with Natural Heritage, since that is, even though it's our land, we're restricted to what they require. So what I'm asking for is an agreement by the commission for me to proceed talking to Natural Heritage and see if we can work out some type of schedule. And if not, if we don't have a farmer doing this, we're going to have to come up with the money. And so I figured this is a good way of not spending town money to manage a piece of land, that if we can partner with the farmer
He would just mow it.
and have him mow it, then that'll keep the invasives down.
Otherwise, we'd have to pay.
Yes.
Would he get anything out of it? Would it be
Gets
grass
the
or
hay,
something
right?
he could use to?
Yep, to
Yeah.
feed the cows.
So it's a mutually
Yeah.
beneficial.
Now, in the same sense, I'm hopefully thinking a local farmer might also want to improve the edges and help maintain that instead of just mowing the grass. And I know how fields, every year they get smaller and smaller and smaller because everything creeps in.
The hedge
My
lines
backyard.
come
Yeah, and if they were willing to help maintain the edges of the field as well.
Yes. I can work
I mean,
that
it's-
out with them.
Yeah.
It's more
you know,
hay for them.
Right, more hay for them, and it's better quality, and it would be a benefit.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question in there for the notes. Did you say you had a report that you gave everyone?
That's attached to
Yeah.
the,
This one.
Oh, good, all right. I hadn't seen everything there. Because I also, in some of the other projects that I've done, have 2 grassland bird mitigation things that could also be adapted if you were interested in looking at them.
I was also going to throw out there that I know DCR in the Wachusett Reservoir watershed area is doing their mowings now at a longer period to let the meadowlarks nest, which they've actually got nesting ones there. So whatever their schedule would be, we could, if Natural Heritage was,
Do we know what we even have there? Or probably not hard to find out.
we could get somebody to go in there and.
I know Audubon used to do a survey on Flaggy Meadow every so many
It was
years.
Tufts Ornithology Department.
Yeah.
And we have a report upstairs for Flaggy Meadow for the birds that they had checked out for Flaggy Meadow.
So now that they have access to this parcel, they may want to come back and do another survey to see. So I mean, there is a
Is
basis
it
for it.
farmable land? I mean, could
Yes,
we-
Yeah.
it was being used as cornfields.
I
And
mean, is
that,
it worth looking at that in the future? That, you know, like
corn?
corn?
Well, that would be
Well-
good for the farmer, but it doesn't really promote nesting for the birds, so.
And Natural Heritage
Yeah,
has
that's
the
true.
restrictions
Yeah.
so that,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if they planted and just left it as grass, then, I mean, it may take a little bit of seeding or whatever to get the right mix of grass seed for them, for what they need, but.
Right, they'd have to plow it, of course, then that would disturb it.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
the timing on that's gonna have to be watched, because
It's a lot
there's
of
also,
acreage.
Right, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I mean, it's for
110
even if you get
what's
80
farmer
acres out of
put
it.
at 70?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, for example, doing the plowing could be critical for the turtles that are trying to nest, because they nest in the
yeah.
upland part.
Yeah, yeah.
And if they're laying their eggs and you're plowing them up,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that could be an issue. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a not something that just happens. It's going to have to be worked out with everybody's scheduled, everybody including the wildlife. And once we've determined that, and I think Natural Heritage would want us to have some experts.
Sure.
So we go to some of the local universities, and local, I mean Eastern Mass,
Yeah.
and see if they are willing to have somebody come out and, as an intern and do an inventory. So it's going to be a process. And so this document that I put together is not, it's just a preliminary idea to see if it's even feasible, because if the farmer didn't want to do it, then
Right.
we're back to having to pay for it.
It would be nice if we could actually get it in the process and stabilized and done before they start a whole bunch of construction for developing that parcel down there.
So-
So then you could actually have a spot so we're not disturbing the nesting turtles in two places at once.
Right.
And the rest of the wildlife that has to be relocated because they're losing their nesting
Is it
habitat.
wet over there too, or is it all upland?
So this is.
It's damp.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why they,
that's why they couldn't build on it.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
At one
Oh,
point, I know that there were grants available from Natural Resource Conservation Services for warm season grasses, so that you could get seed money, and that's one of the ornithologists that I had worked with on that.
So here's South Elm Street, Scotland Street. This blue line is approximately the division line for where the 40B development will go in here. This is Maple Street. The Model Airplane Club is right here in this grassy area right there. So the idea was that coming off of South Elm Street, there's an area that's partly cornfield for many years. Same with over here. This area hadn't been touched because it's probably a little more difficult for a farmer to take a small area like this. It's easier to just go long rows. But I included that, and then this area out behind before it gets into the real wet. So it would be these three parcels. This right here is wet, so he couldn't go through here. And
So how much is there, would you say?
That's, I would say probably about 15 acres total. Each one of these maybe about 3 acres.
Okay.
That's a real approximation.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, the 110 goes way down, right? The total of 110 acres.
110 is from this blue line back up to this area here.
Okay,
So 110 includes all this.
okay. So that's still a good chunk.
I mean, the area that's to the south that you didn't put within the, how wet? I mean, is it, I know in the spring it's considerably wet, but if you're looking at hayfields, I'm just afraid that if we don't manage it with something, it's going to be filled with invasives and we're going to be looking at a,
Is it open space now?
it's open right now because it was cornfields.
I see it, yeah.
So this is an actual farmer's drain,
Yeah.
a drainage ditch that was put in. It kind of peters out up here because I think over the years the farmer did some corn growing in there, but when I saw it growing, I could see that it was pretty stunted, and it was stunted because it's too wet. So you'd look at it and you'd see the corn coming up real nice, and then all of a sudden it's down to only a foot off the ground because it's not growing and it's yellow. So I believe this area is kind of questionable, but we might
Right.
be able to work in there.
I mean, I'm just thinking if you look at Howard Street in the field that's next to the historical building,
Yeah.
or even the field out on River Street that's got the drainage canals that were built for that reason, but it's still pretty much all grass, except for where those ditches are. They've kind of let that stay, but I mean, they can still manage it and it can still stay open and grassland
Right,
instead of invasives and everything else taking over.
right.
I mean, if we had somebody willing and Natural Heritage was allowing us to be able to come up with a grassland management plan
Be nice.
to let it, I mean, I just think a nice green instead of buckthorn and alder
All that
and,
stuff.
multiflora rows, filling the whole thing in.
And
I
it
mean,
would-
that'd be nice to have that little pocket in the middle. Left is vegetation that would be food source and something a little higher. But
So do we own on the other side of the drainage ditch too?
So we own
South.
all of the, what's yellow,
Yeah,
and then all the way down
okay, I see it.
here too.
yeah, and
I
even
can
as you look at
See
the
the property
yeah,
line.
but see these little parcels here.
Yeah,
Those are part of it too.
really? Wow.
Yeah, those hash. So it goes further down.
Yep.
I mean, you don't think, I mean, we're saying that, is it hard to get hay now? Of course, there's
I
less
think-
dairy cows too, but
Beef cows. I
eat
mean,
it. I mean, you would think some farmer would jump all over that.
yeah.
wouldn't
I mean, I think
They're
there's a
saying that they're finding it harder and harder to find a field that they
Yeah.
can mow and
Yeah.
take the grass from.
because they're all getting developed.
he? Yeah,
I mean, they're having to buy hay out of Canada.
really.
And it's expensive to haul it down,
Yeah.
especially
I'm
with
sure
fuel
we
prices
could
going
find
up.
some people,
So,
don't you?
Do you have a farmer in mind?
Yep,
I'm guessing if we put it out there, we have a few farmers
I
Yes.
think so.
that would be knocking on our door. So that's why I was suggesting that if we do have potential farmers that are interested in something like this, that
I
it
think
could be
we
a
would.
partnership that, yes, they're
Be
gonna have to
nice.
plant seed and improve it, but long-term, we're gonna want to have some maintenance done
Yeah,
around the edges.
'cause
Yeah,
you're right, it'll,
and to keep the invasives out, and if we ended up wanting to create a path that we may have to keep a 8-foot wide mowed area that a farmer may be willing to work with
Sure.
us on.
sure.
Um,
So you
Now,
really just need a motion to
Pursue.
move forward.
Just to move forward, and by the way, in skim milk bridges, let's say over in this area,
Mhm.
and in going out Old Maple Street past the model airplane flying field that they have,
Mhm.
or the landing strip, I'm sorry. There's areas out there that are high, that don't get flooded. And that could be an area that maybe you do this one this year, this one this year, leave this one alone, and then do one over here. So not restricted to just here, it's just using good management practice throughout the whole 110 acres. We can
Sure.
control the invasives.
Yeah.
And already I see them starting to come
Uh-huh.
in, so we need to get a plan in place so that we can have people out there and keeping the invasives at bay anyway, as best we can. So it wouldn't necessarily be just this, we could get some more and maybe rotate crops too as well. So it's gonna be working with natural heritage to see what endangered species we have to protect, what their seasons are like, and what the farmer needs to do, and what, maybe it would be a good idea to let some corn grow in there. The natural heritage said it was all right.
Yeah.
I just thought they'd be looking for nesting sites for birds,
Mhm.
and it would be a better selling point. Corn, it's only good for the farmer, but it's also might be good for the land to keep the invasives
The
down.
geese love it.
But-
I mean, it also might be something that we can find some grant money if we were
Yeah.
pitching this to Natural Heritage and say, okay, we create turtle nesting habitat. I mean, actually put in, like they've done on a couple other parcels that we've dealt with
Now, the 40B has to do that as well.
already, but I'm saying if it's an enticement to Natural Heritage to let us
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
manage this and let it just go back to invasives and everything
Oh,
else. If it was on the borders, a few places here or there, putting in
Sure.
a gravel sand nesting area.
Yeah.
I
Quite a
mean,
few of the land trusts that are acquiring old farmlands are now doing the same thing. They're managing the farmlands. And I think we could use some of their plans and some of their
Yeah.
management plans as guides as well. So it's just a start.
well,
Good one.
Would the management plan make up the difference between having a contract with the farmer so that he's doing what we want him to do, and you would follow up and see if he was truly doing what he was.
It would have to be an
Yeah.
agreement.
So it would be some kind of
ground rules,
paperwork.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'll make a motion that.
I'll entertain a motion to authorize John to pursue a grassland management program.
I'll make it.
Second.
Move and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
I like it a lot.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And the
printer.
Article 13,
The printer didn't,
want to work with.
it's all these lines.
And Article 13, item number 13, we really don't even need to discuss because that's mute, because the annual
Yeah.
town meeting was last night, and item number 39 got passed, so.
God.
Like anyone was.
Thank you for everybody that
Who was
stayed.
gonna fight it?
At that point, it was, yeah.
I know.
What was that lady concerned about, though, again?
Well, she has a piece of drainage area that is backing up.
Yeah,
And the town has easements on certain parcels of land, and they don't have easements on other parcels of land. And a lot of the street runoff runs off the side of the road and onto, let's say, a wooded parcel.
yeah.
And it collects water and then it starts draining. Even though there's not a legal document saying that the water's running off of, let's say, North Elm Street, it's been that way for so long that it's a usually considered a prescriptive right for the town to keep doing that as a matter of necessity. It really starts to get into a lot of legal battles sometimes when people want to push it, but ultimately the town needs to have a place to drain the water. And I think this person was concerned that it's creating issues on their land and that the town should be held
That's what I
to
thought, yeah.
take care of it. So I think that's where she was coming from.
We're interested in developments primarily.
Right.
Be it either commercial or a yeah, residential multi-unit,
Right, not single.
yeah, not single-family
No, it's,
homes.
we don't care if they're, I shouldn't say we don't care, but we don't want to get involved with if their roof drain system doesn't work properly, we're not going to go in and
Right.
And repair that.
Right, put a lien on their house.
Right. It's just for commercial and big residential developments.
Right. All right.
So big meaning like more than 3,
Alright.
more than 2, just more than 1.
For
We
self-
have-
Anything that requires the stormwater permit,
Okay.
so it's based on size.
Okay.
Lot 4 South Street, 22 Merritt and Ames for documents to sign.
Ames is not being signed tonight.
Ah, that's right, because we didn't have them come in. There's the bond release,
Okay.
and this is the order of conditions.
So it looks like we have a little more work to do on
Nope.
the Chromebooks to get them to be a
That
little
one
bit
there's
more
one
useful.
we're not doing. Oh, no, that one,
people-
yeah, that one we are.
People that were in?
No, we have,
Yeah,
Oh,
Yep.
oh,
Nope.
Chromebooks.
yeah,
Okay.
nope, we're good. I wasn't paying attention. It was the Ames one.
It's a good start. though.
Bethany's yet?
what's that?
Did you do that certificate of compliance with Bethany yet?
Oh, you didn't do it?
I have it.
Oh,
Yeah,
But
that's
I
all
didn't-
set, right? Yeah.
Okay, because, all right, I haven't read all that you gave us tonight.
And then, yeah, those are back there.
Oh, it wasn't on my list, but
It was on our list, the joint list.
Do we sign it? Or just you sign it?
That's from the meeting I went to on Monday.
Oh, all right.
which one is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just thought it was the
Certificate of compliance for 54 Beacon Street for Bethany.
Manuel Bethany. I mean, Manny Bethany.
Right, I'm just not sure where I
Isn't that a
signed that
garage?
one.
Is it a garage? Is that his garage?
That was the garage.
Yeah.
What,
That was a while.
What is it? Yeah.
I'm just looking to, I'm not sure where I signed that one.
What did I do? The wrong form?
Maybe.
Yeah, I did. I signed
Okay,
it.
I just
Left
looking
the
at
wrong page.
it. All right, there's another signature page somewhere.
No,
Okay.
This is the one that came out, so I had the cursor on the wrong
Okay.
one.
I was just like, wait a minute, this is a
I
new
know,
one.
I know.
You had me on a.
It
So,
did look confusing.
That's
That's why
okay.
I was confused when I
Yeah.
was looking at all this stuff.
Well, I figured after 3.5 hours sleep, I was missing something.
so, we'll sign it
Good.
the next one?
Yep.
All right.
That's it.
And I think that was it, unless anybody has anything else.
Motion
I'll
to
entertain a
adjourn.
motion.
I'll make it.
Second.
Move the second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.